Everyone, today we will start with a whole new topic that is called array. Hope you have gone through the previous videos related to pointers, in which we have already discussed about how to use the pointer and what is the increment and decrement of a pointer and how the pointer affects the programming language. And previous to that one, we have discussed about the switch case. Now we will move to the new concept called array. So in array there will be only one video. This is a interesting topic, and within one video we'll try to cover up the whole concept. So let's start with the concept. In programming, we'll see that very frequently the programmers use the array, but two questions generally comes into our mind that when we start with the topic array, that what is an array and what is the need of using an array. First of all, we'll discuss about what is an array. So let's take one example that in a class, if there are 50 students, now we just want to take the average. Let us tell that we just want to calculate the average of the marks of the students obtained by class 5 or class 6, whatever it is, in a subject called mathematics. Now, in order to do that, till now we have got the idea that we have to assign the variable name for each variable which we want to input in our program. So in order to input the values or the marks of 50 students, we need to initialize 50 variables, and after that we can add those numbers by using the variable names, and then we can add divide that by 50. This is the basic logic behind finding the average of anything. So in order to do this, we have to initialize 50 variables. Just think about this. 50 variables is not a matter of joke. If you can actually give 50 names, but if there are 500 students, then what will you do? So it will be very much difficult to initialize or to name, just not only initialize, just to name 500 variables, because it is not at all possible. So in order to remove this kind of obligations, to get rid of this kind of problems, the concept of array has been introduced. Array, in case of array, the array definition of array states that in case of array we can use the variable name in a method, which we will see right now, and by using the array we can use, without practically using a variable name, without practically using a variable name, the user can actually access thousands of variables, finite number of variables. That could be of 1,000, that could be of 10,000, that could be of 50,000. There won't be any issues, but that number should be finite. So by using an array, we can easily solve the problem which we have discussed previously. So in order to use an array, there are some procedures, there are some steps which we need to follow. The array, the frequent question which comes, that array can be of only integer type. No, it can be of integer type, it can contain float values, it can contain character values also. So in case of character values, it is called as string. So in string we will discuss later. We will make a new video for the string, because string is a new concept, and in which there are several topics interrelated to the string. So we will discuss array first, then we will discuss in another video about string. We'll make another video about string. So in order to discuss an array, we'll just take one example, how the array looks and how it is initialized and how it functions and what is the effect of it in a program. So let's take one example. So we'll just take for an instance that int ABC, this is the sign, and this equals to, just write it like this. Now int stands for it is integer. ABC, this is the array name. These two brackets are dimension, and this is the value or number of variables. Let it be 5. Number of variables the array can hold. This is the number of variables the array can hold. Try to understand each and every thing whatever written here. That is, first one is int, that is integer type. what is the use of using an int here? Because we are trying to tell the compiler, we're trying to say to the compiler that we are initializing an array in which we are going to store the variables of values of integers type. So I'll repeat it once again. We are trying to tell, we are communicate with the compiler, we are trying to communicate with the compiler that we are trying to store the integer type of values in our array, whichever we are initializing here. So this is why integer int has been used here. You can use float, you can use char. If you use char, that will become a string. If you use float, that will remain as array. Now ABC, you can give any name to it. Whatever variable name restrictions are there, in case of array, the same restrictions follows. But you can give any name as your choice, as per your choice. I have given a simple name, that is ABC. You can give XYZ, whatever you like. So this is an array name. And now comes the most important thing. This is one pair of third bracket. This is one pair of third bracket. This means this array is of one dimensional array. I'll repeat it once again. One pair of third bracket means one dimensional array. Two pair of third brackets mean two dimensional array. Three pair of third bracket means three dimensional array. This is how it goes on. There are only two dimensions, that is one and first and second dimensions within our syllabus. So we'll discuss about first and second only. So here only one pair of third brackets are there, so this is an one dimensional array. Now this is inside that bracket we have written 5. What does it mean? 5 means the number of variables or the number of values the array can store, the number of values or number of variables it can generate, or number of values it can hold. That is 5. It could be 50, it could be 500, it could be 5000, but here we have written just only 5. So this is the array, this is the concept of array. Now you can directly use or initialize or implement or give the values to an array just like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That because we have already stated that we have written 5, so only 5 values can be stored within this array. So these are the 5 values: 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. These are the 5 values I am trying to store it here. So this is why it is given as 5. Now how the value is getting stored here, we need to understand the concept. Now whenever we have initialized the variable as integer type, so in D there is a memory location called D. In D, there are 5 location has been generated: 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, these are the values which has been stored. Let it be 6, 1, 2, 3, so it will be 6, 1, 2, 5, so it will be like this. Now what will be the variable names under which the values will be stored? We have to give the variable names. So for this purpose, what the array does, we need to understand that. Please try to understand that ABC 5, that means there are 5 values. Be very careful, listen to me very carefully. You cannot initialize the variable names as ABC1, ABC2, ABC3. You cannot do this. You have to start with 0 and you have to go up to 4. That means I am trying to say that first variable name will be ABC0. Second one will be ABC1. This is ABC1. Third one will be ABC2. Fourth one will be ABC3 and fifth one will be ABC4. ABC2, ABC3 and ABC4. This is how it will go on. ABC0, ABC1, ABC2, ABC3, ABC4. This is how the array initializes the variable names, like this. If you would have you could have taken any other variable name in order to, suppose you would have taken swap, let it be swap. So this will be swap 0, swap 1, swap 2, swap 3, swap 4. This is how it goes on. Now here what we have came through in case of initializing the variable name, that whatever you write, if you write 50 also, then it will go from 0 to 49. Just try to understand the concept. it will go 0 to 49. That is the concept which has been described by the C compiler, that you have to go from 0 to 49 in order to initialize 50 variables. You cannot go from 1 to 50. In order to initialize 500 variables, you have to go from 0 to 499. You cannot go from 1 to 500. Just try to remember this, because this will be helpful. Otherwise, you will do mistakes in case of writing the program or writing the output in general. So this is how the first dimension of array works. Now we'll move to the second dimension of array. So second two-dimensional array, just write it like this: int a, b, c, this and this. So let it be 3 and let it be 2. Now, in case of using this in int abc 3, 2, that means what? Where it is used. Two-dimensional array means what? And two-dimensional arrays are used in which places? We need to understand that. Hope you have gone through the concept of matrix in mathematics. So in case of matrix, we have seen that there are a number of rows, and that there is an order of a matrix in which the number of rows and number of columns has been stated. So in order to write a matrix like this, so let one matrix has 3 rows and 2 columns. So 3 rows means 2 columns, 3, 2, 2, 1, 1 minus 5. There are 3 rows and 2 columns. This is the order of the matrix called 3 into 2. There are 6 elements within this matrix. Now, in order to use this matrix or to take the input of that matrix into our program, we have to take the help of two-dimensional array. Just try to understand. In order to input this kind of things, this kind of matrix things into our programming, we need to use the arrays. So that's it. This is why two-dimensional arrays are being used basically. So let the array named as ABC 3, 2. So first one will always indicate row and second one will always indicate column. So in case of writing this, we can directly write the values as like this: 3, 2, 2, 1, 1, 5. Just try to understand the concept: 3, 2, 2, 1, 1 minus 5. This is how we can write directly, or else we can use for loops for the purpose of taking the variables into our program. So what the purpose of taking the input of the variables, values of the variables into our program. We'll see how we can use the for loop. Just try to understand the concept here. First thing is, this is a two-dimensional array because we have already told that if one pair of third bracket is there, then that is a one-dimensional array. If two pair of third brackets are there, then that is a two-dimensional array. Here two pair of third brackets are there, definitely it is a two-dimensional array. So in case of two-dimensional array, we are just trying to use the trying to take the input of this matrix into our program. So in order to do that, we can directly take the input like this, or else we can use the we can take the help of a for loop. Now we'll try to understand how we can take the use of a help of a for loop for the first dimensional array first, then we'll go to the second dimensional array. So in case of first dimensional one-dimensional array, we have written 1D array. We have written that 3. So let it be 5. So it will be 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Now by using for loop, directly we can give like this, but always it is not at all possible, or always it is not at all easy or not convenient to give the input like this. We have to tell the user to enter the input, enter the values or enter the inputs. So in order to do that, we can just simply write the for loop as for I equals to 0, I less than 4. I am writing the for loop for this one. I am less than equal to 4, I plus plus. We'll just take the input as A, B, C. Oh, sorry, printf. So we'll take printf, enter the value. I'll ask the user to enter the value, scanf, %d, comma, ampersand, where it should be stored. It should be stored in ABCI. Because this is the value we are incrementing. First, how it will work? Whenever the value of I is equals to 0, it will enter into the program because the condition is getting satisfied here. Now if the condition gets satisfied, then it will go to the next statement, that is enter the value. It will ask the user, it will display on the display screen that enter the value, and user will, whenever user enters one value, that will be stored where? ABC I. I means what is the value of I? That is ABC 0. We have already told that first value will be stored at ABC 0. Then I will get incremented, that I, the value of I will become 1. So the next value will be stored in ABC 1. Next will be ABC 2. This is how it will continue. So we'll just remove this one. Please note down so that it will be helpful for you to understand. So we can move to the two-dimensional array sector. So for the purpose of taking this particular matrix into our programming, taking input of this particular matrix into our programming by using for loop, what we have to do? First, we have to use one for loop for row, that is R0, row is up to 3, so R is less than equal to 2. Just try to remember, if it is 3, then it will go from 0 to 2. If it is 2, it will go from 0 to 1. Be very careful in this context. Otherwise, you will do a huge mistake. You will get compiler errors and you will not find out what is the error, but it will continuously disturb you. So C equals to 0, C less than equals to 1, C plus plus. Now here comes the main important part. So printf, we can write it like this also. Enter the value. We are just asking the user to enter the value. Now scanf is also correct, is %d, because this is an integer value. So if you were using float value, you can just use %f, that's it. So ampersand, what is the value, what is the thing, we have to write it here. You need to understand the concept very carefully. We are trying to use the value, we are trying to enter the value just like this, right? So in order to do that, we have seen that if we just write down the row and column number, so it will be 1 1 1 2 2 1 2 2 3 1 3 3, right? 3 2. This is the first row first column element, that is 3 here. This is the first row second column element, this is the second row first column. I am writing the column and the row name for this one. Now here we are using 0 to 2, so instead of writing 1, we have to write 0 0. So 0 0, it will be 0 1. So we'll just rewrite this one. This one will be 1 0, this one will be 1 1, this one will be 2 0, and this one will be 2 1. So what is the value here? That is 3 2 2 1 1 minus 5. These are the values, and these are the row and column numbers. So first we'll write this one, scanf, where we want to store ABC is the name of the matrix. Now in ABC we are trying to use or trying to save the values like this, ABC row and column. Now what is the methodology which is going? We'll just give one printf /n. So it will be like this. Now what is the methodology which is going on? Just try to write it down. Just write it down so that you will understand it properly. So first, R is equal to 0. This is a nested for loop. This is what is called as nested for loop, because we are using two for loops simultaneously for the same purpose. For the purpose of execution of one particular statement, we are using two for loops. This is how it is called as nested for loop. As if we have seen the nested if else, this is how the same thing. So in case of this, R is equal to 0, the condition is getting satisfied. R is less than 2, so 0 is less than 2, so no issues with that. So C is equal to 0 and C is less than equals to 1. This is also getting satisfied. So the value currently, the value of R is equal to 0 and the value of C is equals to 0. So ABC, it will be 0 0, right? So ABC 0 0. This is where the value has to be stored. The user will enter 3 now. So this will be 3. Now just try to understand. Now C will be incremented because we have given the sign of increment here. So C will get incremented up to 1. 1 means this is also getting satisfied by the condition, so it will enter into the loop again. but here the value of r remains as 0 only. So what will be the ABC value? ABC 01, right? So it will be ABC 01. Just try to understand the concept very carefully, because it is a bit confusing for the first time. Whenever you have understood the concept, then it will become easy. So it will become 01, because just try to remember that r is equal to 0 whenever this condition is getting satisfied and a loop is entering into this particular second for loop. For how much time the condition of the second loop is getting satisfied, till that it will not go back to the first one. First it has to dissatisfy the condition of the second for loop, then only it will go back to the first one, otherwise it will not go back. মানে প্রথমে কন্ডিশনটা স্যাটিসফাই হওয়ার পরে দ্বিতীয় ফর লুপের ভেতরে আসলো প্রোগ্রামটা, দ্বিতীয় ফর লুপের ভেতরে প্রোগ্রামটা যতক্ষণ না পর্যন্ত এই কন্ডিশনটা ডিসস্যাটিসফাই হচ্ছে ততক্ষণ পর্যন্ত কিন্তু এই লুপটার ভেতরেই থাকবে। যখন এই লুপটার কন্ডিশনটা ডিসস্যাটিসফাই হবে তখন কিন্তু আবার এটা প্রথম লুপের দিকে ব্যাক করে যাবে। জাস্ট ট্রাই টু আন্ডারস্ট্যান্ড, এবং সেটা ততক্ষণ এই প্রসিডিউরটা চলবে যতক্ষণ না পর্যন্ত এই ফার্স্টের লুপের কন্ডিশনটা টোটালি ডিসস্যাটিসফাই করছে, তখন কিন্তু আর ভেতরে ঢুকবে না। তাহলে ইন দ্য ফার্স্ট কেস উই হ্যাভ সিন দিস আর দ্য ভ্যালুজ, ইউজার উইল এন্টার 2. Now C will get incremented once again, so the value of C becomes 2, the condition dissatisfied, so it will move out of this loop. So it will get printf star n. Because why we have given printf star n? Because we just want to print like this. You can give or you can not give also. You cannot give. If you don't give, then there won't be any problem. No issues will be there. In order to print it, we have to give, because otherwise all the things will come in a straight line. So that will not block. That will not be in a matrix format. You will just get it on a straight line. So it will be a bit confusing. In order to give it a matrix form, we are just using that one. So this is now for the second thing, r will be incremented. So the value of r is equals to 1 now. Condition satisfied, it will enter into the second loop. So for the value r as 1, it will go for ABC 10, and it will go similarly as ABC 11. Then it will dissatisfy, it will go for r equals to 2, so it will go for ABC 20 and ABC 21. Then it will go again for the r. So the value of r will be 3, condition dissatisfied, so it will come out of the loop. This is how the two-dimensional array can be stored by using the for loop, by directly giving the value. By directly giving the value is not at all preferable. By using this for loop, we have to do so many programs related to this one. So just try to understand the concept. Please note it down so that it will be helpful. Now there are some simple logics or talks which we need to discuss here, because you will find in some of the programs that it is written as like this. No values are given here. No values are given here, but the name, array name and everything is same. Everything has been given, but the value has not been initialized yet. That is called as dynamic memory allocation. Dynamic memory allocation means, I'll just tell it in short, I'll discuss in detail later. That dynamic memory allocation means I don't know at present, I don't have the practical idea or the clear idea that how much variables I have to initialize, so that I am not actually initializing the size of the array. I am initializing just the array, not the size of the array. So dynamically how much size it will come, how much variables it will come, it will keep on addressing them, keep on assigning the variable name for them. So this is called as dynamic memory allocation of an array. So no need to be hesitated by saying this. So you can understand by saying this the concept. Now we'll try to understand. We'll try to write two programs related to one. First one will be related to one-dimensional array. Second one will be related to two-dimensional arrays. So first one will write about 1D array. This is a simple program of finding out the average marks of 50 students. So I'll just write the program from main function. So from main function, I'll just initialize the array int abc or the marks, whatever you feel like, of 50 students, right? So it will be 50. Just write the average avg equals to 0. Initialize this one. That's it. nothing else. Now I'll just use the for loop, I equals to 0, and how much I will go, that is 49. Definitely I'll go for 49 because it is 40, that means 0 to 49. Now printf, I'll ask the user to enter the value, enter the marks, user will enter the marks. Now scanf, what will be the scanf, that is ampersand, whatever where the value has to be stored, that is marks I. Now the values are getting stored. We'll just perform one more thing, that in order to perform the sum, okay, sum equals to sum plus marks I. You just do this one because we need to, in order to perform the average, we have to get the total marks, right? So sum equals to sum plus mark I, whatever value mark I is getting, we are just trying to get that value, trying to use that value. So this is how it works. Okay, now average, after execution, average equals to sum divided by 50. So we'll just print if you just do one thing, float, you just take float avj, because float avg, just write it like this, sum is equals to 0, because the average may or may not, come on integer or may not come in integer. So in order to avoid any kind of problem related to this, we are just using the float against the average variable. So printf, what is the value, average marks equals to percentage comma avg. That's it. This is the program of finding the average value, average marks obtained by 50 students. Just write it down so that you can look the program and try to understand the logic used here. So we'll move to the last program, that is two-dimensional array. What is the use of a two-dimensional array and how it affects the program. So two-dimensional array, we'll just try to understand the logic, how we can use a two-dimensional array to add two matrices. We are just adding, and in this program we are just not caring about, we are just taking simply that two matrices are of same order. Otherwise we cannot perform the addition. I think you can remember the laws of two matrix addition, that if the order of two matrices are not same, then you cannot perform addition or subtraction. The order must be same, then only we can perform the addition. So we are taking two matrices of same order. That is why I have already mentioned that the order of the matrices are same, otherwise we will get confused. So let one matrix A be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and let one matrix B be 2, minus 1, 5, and 3, 2, 9. So we'll just write from this one main function. So int mat1 as how many rows? 2 rows and 3 columns. So it will be 2, 3, mat 2, 3. We'll use the for loop for the purpose of, we can directly do this, but we will not do directly. We'll just use the for loop, and this is the sum matrix. So it will be sum 2, 3. Definitely the sum of two matrices is always a matrix. So in order to perform this, we have to take some more variables like int I or row or column. Just write it like, for now these are the two variables which are coming into my mind. If any variables needed, we can use it. We'll just initialize and use. So for loop r is equals to 0, r less than equals to r less than equals to, it will go for 1, and r plus plus. Now it will go for another for loop. We have to go, because this is a two-dimensional matrix, so you need to use two for loops. So it will be c equals to 0, c less than equals to 2, and c plus plus. Now printf enter the value of first matrix. Just do it like this and store %d comma ampersand mat1 rc. This is how the first matrix, and you just write it down the second matrix also. Enter the value of second matrix. Just scanf %d comma ampersand mat2 rc. So these are the two values which we have already entered by using these two for loops. Now we have got these two matrices as in our program. Now we have to add these two matrices. So in order to perform this addition, I will just remove this one. So please note it down so that we can remove this part and we can write the new one. So in order to in order to perform the addition, we have to initialize. We have already initialized the sum matrix, right? So for loop we have to we have to initialize another one for loop. R is equals to 0, R less than equals to 1, R plus plus, and for another for loop, that is C, same for loop, just write it, just copy it from here. C is less than equal to 2 and C plus plus, so it will be printf. There is no need of using the printf. Okay, sum is equals to sum of RC equals to mat1 RC plus mat2 RC. This is the sum of these two matrices. It will be done by this command only. Okay. Now in order to print this, we have to initialize these two things. That is, we have to use these two things, these two for loops. C is equals to 0, C less than equal to 2, C plus plus. I am removing this part. So printf, just this is the final answer which we are going to print right now. So print the sum of two matrices is equals to %d comma sum, I will write here only, sum R comma C. Now here we'll just close this one and we'll use printf /n, because we're just trying to use the new line after each line, because whenever this particular thing will be printed, if you don't use this one, then 4, 5, 6 will come on the same line. We don't want this, because we don't want the output as a matrix. So for the purpose of getting this particular statement means it will give to the new line, it will go to the new line. So this is it. This is how the array works. These are the basic functions of an array. I will just send one PDF which includes some exercise related to the array and the previous topics very soon. So please try to understand the concept whichever has been discussed in this video, and hope you have gone through the previous videos so that you have cleared the concept about pointers. In the next video we will try to cover up the concept of functions, in which the concept of pointers will be a very important part. So if you have not gone through the concept of pointers till now, or if you have any doubts regarding to that topic, so feel free to call me, feel free to contact me, so that I can discuss about that, and I'll send the PDF as soon as possible. So hope this was helpful. Thank you.